If we were only going off the monthly classic bullpen bulletins and finely tuned press releases, the mighty house of Marvel of old sure did sound like a fun place to work. Just a bunch of boys kicking back and coming up with the next crazy idea that was going to change the world. Working at Marvel was made out to be one of the most chill jobs on the planet. In fact, the columns were one of the wisest PR decisions Marvel ever made, because it let them totally control the public perception of how they operated. This was long before the days of social media, the internet, or even Wizard magazines spreading gossip and hearsay. Any controversies that occurred happened within the pages of the comics themselves, and they could usually be explained away with some judicious mental gymnastics performed in the letters page of next month's issue. Things are much different now though. Along with all the terrible decisions they've made with stories and characters, fans are also party to all the dodgy behind-the-scenes dealings as well, thanks to Twitter, fanzines, and books like Sean Howe's eye-opening Marvel, The Untold Story. With such a long history then, it's no surprise that Marvel have been prone to mess up big time, pissing off just about everybody in the process. I'm Josh from WhatCulture.com, and these are the 10 biggest Marvel Comics controversies. Number 10. Captain America versus the Tea Party. The movie adaptation of The Winter Soldier isn't the first time a sly look at the contemporary political landscape has been snuck into one of Cap's superhero adventures. During Ed Brubaker and Luke Ross's Two Americas arc, where Steve Rogers and Sam Wilson track down a far-right anti-government group, the pair stumble across a protest march lambasting rising taxes and socialism. Just in case you didn't quite get it though, the comic handily includes a sign from a protester reading, "Teabag the liberals before they teabag you." Although the threat could have been taken straight from the mouth of a 13-year-old playing Call of Duty, it caused a fair bit of outcry from the real-life Tea Party group itself, a political movement centered around, well, protesting rising taxes and the perceived rise of socialism in the US. A conservative blogger complained that Marvel were, and I quote, making patriotic Americans into your newest supervillains, with the always balanced and reliable Fox News even picking up the story. Writer Brubaker passed the book and claimed the sign's message wasn't his doing, and had been added in during either the lettering or the editing process. Regardless of who did the deed though, it was changed in all future reprints of the issue. Not that the scene was particularly sympathetic to Tea Party types anyway, with Cap snorting derisively at their anti-tax march, and the Falcon implying they were, a bit racist. Number 9. The ICAHN takeover. In the 90s, Marvel were in dire straits. After the speculator market dropped out and they realized they wouldn't be making their billions on constant issue 1s with shiny covers, the publisher was in need of some serious guidance. They were already nosediving into bankruptcy, which was the time where Wall Street maven and corporate raider ICAHN stepped in. ICAHN started scooping up Marvel stock at an insultingly low price, looking to take control of the company and their considerable assets. In 1997, he became chairman of the company, hoping to gain responsibility for the entirety of Marvel's operation with the intention of strip mining them for as much money as he could possibly get, leaving behind a burned out husk where one of the world's most renowned comics publishers used to be. He entered a bitter war with other financiers and companies looking to own Marvel, having already forced the company into bankruptcy so he could become head of the board and replace all of its previous members with his mates. It was like a terrible made-for-TV courtroom drama, and the legal proceedings with his rivals were so long and drawn out that Marvel was left to rot, fading into obscurity and producing some of the worst work in their history, all the while licensing their characters out to anyone and everyone. Cheers for that, Carl. Number 8. Heroes Reborn. One of the early initiatives put into place to capitalize on the mid-90s comic book boom was the Heroes Reborn reboot. Essentially Marvel's version of DC's New 52 on a smaller scale, Heroes Reborn handed Jim Lee and Rob Liefeld the keys to the kingdom to go nuts with. Unfortunately, their vision of a successful brand relaunch was to cancel and relaunch previously popular titles with unnecessary continuity changes, provide terrible artwork, and all around infuriate their readers. Having supposedly been killed off during the Best Forgotten Onslaught crossover, it was explained that the Fantastic Four, Captain America, and the Avengers had all been brought to life within a pocket universe created by Mr. Fantastic's superpowered son, Franklin. Franklin, though, was essentially just the avatar of the new editors, as he updated the classic characters in banal and needless ways. The revisions, such as making Ben Grimm a Gulf War veteran rather than having him serve in World War II, were not popular amongst fans or Marvel themselves, who regretted outsourcing the reboot to Lee and Liefeld's independent Image Comics, eventually cancelling the Captain America series and returning the characters to the regular Marvel universe we all know and love. Number 7. The Ultimate Universe. When the Ultimate Universe was announced by Marvel in 2000, many readers began to panic. The comic industry loves to hit the reset button more than my father loves to berate me about my chosen career path. But when the Ultimate Verse was introduced, fans were worried that these new takes on some of the company's best beloved characters would eventually replace the revered originals. It turned out they had nothing to worry about, and that for once the editors weren't pulling the wool over their eyes when they insisted that the Ultimate and main Marvel universes would never cross. Except of course for that one time with the two Spider-Men, where fans lost their collective minds with worry that the two worlds were finally merging. While fans just about survived that controversial crossover though, it was the Ultimates line which caused the most outcry. Introducing such unsavory plot elements as a lust-crazed Hulk, incest between Scarlet Witch and her brother Quicksilver, a plot involving a leaked sex tape of Iron Man and the Black Widow, and actually, come to think of it, I bet Jules would love this. Jules, have you ever heard of the Ultimate? Come here, mate, you'll love it. Everyone else loathed the abrasive changes though, and the Ultimate Universe would be ended entirely following a series of catastrophic events in the Cataclysm storyline, where many heroes lost their lives, including one Peter Parker. Number 6. Miles Morales, Spider-Man. Taking up the Spidey moniker after Ultimate Peter Parker died, Miles Morales, a character of Black Hispanic descent, became the universe's webhead. While the decision on the surface was a positive one, as Marvel made a progressive change when it came to the representation of different races in the whitewashed world of superhero protagonists, not everyone agreed. On one level, changing any iconic character in such a major way was bound to be met by controversy, but there was no denying that a lot of this outcry had a decidedly racist edge to it. On the other hand, some newspapers accused Marvel of shamelessly chasing the political correctness dollar, recasting Spidey not due to any real altruistic motivations, but because it was a neat publicity stunt. This was all bubbling at a time where the Ultimate Spider-Man was very much a different character in a completely different universe. Naturally then, the controversy peaked every time this version of the superhero threatened to be in line to replace the main series webhead, with the same arguments still being repeated years down the line. Number 5. Cutting up DC Comics. Now this is a weird one. Every summer both Marvel and the Distinguished Competition have their blockbuster crossover events, but if some reports are to be believed, Marvel have been reverting to some decidedly underhand tactics to get one up on DC. In 2010, publishers were in the midst of their summer events, Marvel with Siege and DC with Blackest Night. Rumour has it though that Marvel extended an unusual offer to comic book shops across America. If store owners were willing to tear the covers off 50 Blackest Night related titles, they would receive a super secret variant cover to Siege number 3. They repeated the stunt the next year as well, where the title to be vandalized was Flashpoint, as Marvel needed to get the edge on their own Fear Itself crossover. The stunt wasn't widely reported, as DC refused to rise to the taunting, and it's unclear if any comic shops actually took Marvel up on the offer. When commenting on the scandal, Marvel claimed it was an effort to help the ailing brick-and-mortar stores by providing them with lucrative, exclusive variant covers that fans love. In reality, it was at best a bad attempt at gaining some publicity, or at worst, a pretty disgusting way to kick the competition. Number 4. Carol Danvers and Marcus. Avengers issue 200 is unlikely to ever leave the memory of comics fans who lived through it, and certainly not in a good way. The infamous storyline saw Miss Marvel give birth to a baby she couldn't remember conceiving, following a grueling 3-day labor. Things only got stranger from there though, as it was revealed that the superheroine had been kidnapped by Avengers villain Immortus, taken to an alternate dimension, and impregnated so that she would give birth to baby Marcus, better known by his alter ego, well, Immortus. So not only was there a bizarre time paradox, a cliche comics fans absolutely love, an incest bent to the story, but also the heavy implication that one of the Avengers' few female members had been the victim of sexual assault. And then the story was resolved by Miss Marvel forgiving her attacker, going to live with him in space, and none of her Avengers even bothering to stop her. Well done on the heroine, guys! Number 3. Everything Spidey. Alright, how about we lighten the mood after all that nasty business by enjoying some stories about your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. There's so many places we could start. There's the Clone Saga, where it was revealed that Peter Parker was actually a clone of the original Spidey, who went by the name of Ben Reilly and replaced the Pete we'd grown up with for a couple of years. Comics fans love that, right? Or maybe we could jump into Sin's Past, where we discovered that Peter's tragic girlfriend Gwen Stacy had an affair and gave birth to children with her eventual murderer Norman Osborn. What a hoot. Oh wait, no. How can anyone forget about One More Day, where Peter and Mary Jane sold their marriage to the devil and hit a giant reset button on years of development? Great times. As if these storylines didn't cause enough controversy, Marvel don't seem to be getting the hint that people hate it when they muck around with the Wallcrawler, as the recent Superior Spider-Man arc will attest to. It's a dark running joke in the comics that Spidey can never catch a break in either his personal or superheroic dealings, and the same is true for his fans. Still, controversy leads to increased sales, and that's all that really matters to Marvel. Number 2. The Reign of Joe Quesada. Taking over following the ICAHN debacle and credited with being the one to drag the company out of the black, almost every controversy listed here that happened after 1999 was down to Joe Quesada. He was the driving force behind the Ultimate line, the brainiac behind the attacks on DC Comics, the one who insisted that Spider-Man be torn from his loving wife because it aged the character, who, as we all know, had been around for nearly 50 years at that point. During his time at the top, he also brought in Marvel's Max line for mature readers, with titles containing so much sex, swearing, and violence that the Comics Code Authority wouldn't even know where to start. Likewise, he initiated the schedule which sees the company engage in at least one major crossover every single year, something which has fatigued both readers and their wallets. Of all the controversies Quesada presided over during his time in charge though, it's one more day that has to be the biggest. Fans were outraged by the changes made to Spider-Man, and even more so that they seemed to come entirely based on one man's personal preference. Quesada simply didn't like Peter and MJ as a couple, so he used his power to literally magic it away, strong-arming a storyline that multiple writers have since publicly gone on record as hating. Number 1. Swindling Jack Kirby and everyone else. Despite being the co-creator of many of Marvel's heaviest hitters, including the X-Men, Hulk, Captain America, and the Fantastic Four, Jack Kirby never became fabulously wealthy. Instead, he plugged away on work-for-hire penciling gigs up until he suffered a fatal heart attack at age 76. So where the dream team of Stan and Jack has taken on an almost mythical status, the reality is a lot more bitter. Kirby, as with many other freelancers in Marvel's golden age, was treated awfully by the company. He owned none of the rights to the characters he created, and consequently was party to few, if any, royalties. When he tried to recover some of his original artwork, he was told by Marvel that they had tossed it all out, only to later discover that they were selling it on at a huge profit and giving none of the proceeds to him. Thankfully, he's since begun to gain the recognition he deserves, but at this point, it's all a bit too little, too late. So that's our list. If there are any more controversial moments I missed from Marvel's darkest times, then please let me know in the comments. And while you're there, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And head over to whatculture.com for more lists and news like this every single day. I've been Josh, and I'll catch you later.